What is going on, guys? Welcome to Double Tap. This is Smash Those Buttons podcast dedicated to the FGC. I am, of course, your host, Crash, or one of your hosts for this week's episode. We've got Static G in the building, newly minted Marissa player in Street Fighter 6, as he's told me behind the scenes.
Spoilers, dog.
What? Why is that a spoiler? That's a spoiler?
If anybody at the local is playing her, or is gonna play me.
So?
Okay.
So?
That's all right. No.
This is your coming out party. This is for you. This is for you to
I
come out.
To go right into my pocket and just be like,
Gladius.
Yeah.
just Gladius your opponent to a win.
It's all right.
It's all good. You'll get. It's fine. Like if they know, they know. If they don't, they still won't be ready. Apparently, because you've got this wild mix up for them. I won't tell them to mix up, but you know it is what it is. All right. So Meza ain't here this week. He's got some things to take care of, but it's all good. He'll be here in spirit. But regardless, this is Double Tap. This is a podcast dedicated to everything and anything in the fighting game community. Still kind of like a slight post Evo Blue, still just a little bit post Evo Flu as well. To everyone that might have gotten a little bit sick and all, hope you've gotten your orange juice up. You've done a Frank West orange juice, all that, get your little square health bars up, like doop doop doop, because that always brought you back to 100%. To my Dead Rising cats out there. But yeah, we got some stuff to talk about, man. Even though Evo's behind us now, we do have some things to still chat about. We didn't get a chance to talk about in the last episode. It was a pretty packed episode, so if you haven't already, go check out last week's episode on all the Evo coverage, all the crazy announcements that went on, as well as just kind of like the overall experience that Static G had when he flew over there to Vegas to try to be in the money. Spoilers, he wasn't, but it's still a great story regardless. It's still
nor did I gamble, so there you go. The only thing I gambled was my tournament life.
You didn't gamble because I wasn't there. If I was there, I would have had Static gambling like crazy. I'm not a bad influence. Shut up. Anyway,
however, I did give $20 to Big Dame, and he made it into more. So
there you go. Big Dame, always a good investment. So yeah, welcome once again. Long-winded intro. This is a podcast dedicated to everything in the FGC. Make sure to follow us at Double Tap FGC on all social media platforms, Twitter, of course, on YouTube. We put up highlights and all of the actual podcasts when it gets recorded here live on twitch.tv/mash those buttons. But let's get into our first topic of the day. Really, actually, off the rip, man, we had an interesting weekend. Let's just go off with the event. Evo might have just, concluded, but only this past weekend has the biggest Street Fighter 6 prize pool payout tournament in the history of the franchise has concluded. And that's, of course, the Gamers8 tournament out there in the... where actually exactly was it at?
Not in Saudi Arabia?
Was it Saudi Arabia? Somewhere. I apologize. I just cannot remember off the top of my head where exactly.
Earth.
Yeah, it was on planet Earth. But it went down. They had the, top 32? Was it 32 players? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
Gamers8 was back in with the big... Okay, yes. So it was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
In Street Fighter 6, yep. You had... event was a 32-person invitational, which will be played through the round-robin group stages, eventually leading into a final 16-person double elimination bracket with the top 2 places in each of the 8 groups. Prize pool was $1 million in total up for grabs. The winner goes home with the lion's share up
$400,000.
Yeah, $400,000. Yeah, just what a wording. And then second gets $200,000. Listen, that's not a bad second placing at all. Third goes home with 100,000, and fourth lands 80.
Yeah, it is a chunk of change.
Wait.
What?
Fifth placers get 5,000 each, while the seventh placers get 30,000.
50,000.
All right, 50. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, my mind is still blown. And ninth place gets 10,000. And 13 places get 5.
Yeah. So even if you showed up and still did bad, you got at least 5 stacks in your pocket. So you can't really be mad about it, right?
Like $1,000.
But there was also additional. That was really cool. There was additional like winnings for the game itself, right? If you had the best comeback, that was an extra 10K in your pocket, which that one actually went to Kakaru against Punk because he reversed 3-0'd Punk when he was last round, last match. Best group stage performer got an extra 10K. That went to Mena RD, who was just undefeated in the group stage. So that's an extra 10,000 in your pocket. And the most dominant win actually went to the beast himself, Daigo Uehara versus Luffy, because he had 3 consecutive perfects against him. So yeah, there was definitely money to make here.
I mean, they put a lot of money into it. Did you see that production?
The production was sick. Yeah, the production was sick. The event itself was as esportsy as it gets when it comes to Street Fighter. I actually just got to break down here. Spoilers if you don't want to see the visuals on it, or who won if you want to catch up on it. But it's kind of been reported everywhere. But yeah, the overall event's production was just like insane for what we're kind of used to, and it was really cool because it was also like they were running it in multiple languages, right? They had translators right there on the spot that were just talking about when Rob TV would say it, whatever in English, and then that get translated live right there. It was really dope.
Did he rate their music?
I don't remember if they rated the music, but like, yeah, regardless, the event itself, the stage was sick. I think I got something right here. I think I got the tab right here. Yeah, there we go. The VOD is available for you to go and watch. They have some really awesome sponsors on there, including Spotify. I think KFC was in there too, which was kind of wild. Yeah, the production was pretty insane, as it should be. Big, big LED walls behind it. Really cool panel. They had an actual analyst, like pre-show panel and all, which was pretty dope. It was, like I said, it was as esportsy as it gets. And it was cool.
Yeah, I remember people questioning, like, why are the Dragon Ball commentators there?
Yeah, like, why are those guys there?
Why is Tyrant and I forget his name, but yeah, why are they there? I mean, listen, they know fighting games still, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty universal thing to know one and be able to be good in others. But yeah, there was a pre-show. So like I said, it was as esportsy as it got, and it was a great watch. I'm a fan of the progression when it comes to these kinds of events, because especially if they're like if they're pushing this kind of money that's going on behind it, like the production is going to be sick and it's great entertainment. It's super clean, super like ESPN like and all. It looks great. I don't want to take away from it. I myself am more of a fan of like the gritty kind of underground feel. That's just me. Like all this clean stuff is like, it's great and it works for some games, and I don't know if that's the direction. I look at production. Whoa, that camera sway. I think my man was drunk. I look at that production and I try to see if it bolsters the image of said game a little bit more. And I always felt, who does, once again, whoever actually did the production and all that for the game, for the actual event, which it could be Savvy, it could be, whoever else that's running it out there. I've actually been a fan of how Red Bull usually does their productions when it comes to Street Fighter or to fighting games in general. It's always gritty. It's always a little bit more industrial.
The UFC cages.
It's a little bit more raw. That always fits at home with me. Like this stuff, don't get me wrong, still looked great, but it was just, it's just after a while, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, let's just get to the matches, man. And
how is there green screen like that large? Is it like a?
That's not a green screen. Those are LED panels in the back, bro.
Oh my god.
Those are screens that are in the back. I've operated screens like that, funny enough.
Oh my god, I see the lights in the ceiling.
The lights in the ceiling, the floor itself is also screens. The back, the desk in front of it, it's just a big old panel. It's pretty insane. Like I said, that's not that ain't cheap at all.
See, okay, so I'm not gonna lie, like ever since this was announced, I was just confused as to why they'd have it the week after EVO. Almost like they were just throwing money and saying, we want y'all here, go. And it's like, just throw all the money, throw all the production, everything. And then the Tekken one too. And it was just like, throw everything here and then just throw the event and like everything the best from EVO and stuff. And I'm like,
yeah, bro.
All right. Okay, cool. I guess
you understand
that event.
The pockets are that deep. Understand that. The pockets out there are that deep.
Have you seen the pool that they made that was like 4 stories deep? No? Okay.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That is over there, right?
It has a Street Fighter cabin there, so it is FGC related.
Yeah, right. But yeah, there's AR, all that good stuff. But yeah, they had like I said, the production, and they even had it's cool. They had the coin toss, like, hey, your heads, these tails, flip it. So who gets what side, right? But yeah, the event itself was incredible. Finals, the playoffs into finals, was just all kinds of hype all the way through.
And it shows you with Kakeru actually getting first, it shows you his potential of what he could have done if he didn't go 0-2 at EVO. At EVO, not 0-2 at EVO, but 0-2 at EVO top 6. Excuse me.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, he didn't go 0-2. No, you lying.
0-2 at EVO top 6. Like, if he had hit that overhead on Tokido and made the rest of the combo, could he have actually won EVO? Possibly. But for him to make that comeback on Punk, and
oh my god, but like, that was
the grand finals match. I'm not gonna spoil the grand finals match, but the way he took it, I'm not gonna tell you who
coming from losers to boot. Coming from losers to boot.
Well, you just figured it out.
Well, no, he's coming from losers final. That's all I said. I didn't say anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, he showed up. That JP, can't wait. JP's gonna get nerfed. Yeah, JP's gonna get nerfed.
Man, ain't nobody getting nerfed. I feel like it's gonna happen after Capcom Cup.
You think so? Damn.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, the event was.
Ken needs the nerves.
Whoa. Relax.
Yeah.
You win Evo with Ken, you're allowed. You're whatever your character is immune for at least a year. That's how it goes. That's the unwritten rule.
Combo.
Yeah, it's no joke. But yeah, this was the highest caliber Street Fighter 6 thus far, and at that point, at that date, also the highest payout, right? I think until Capcom Cup is out and that first place, gets that $1 million, right? But still 400 grand, incredible breakdown. I think overall for everybody, like I said, it's been praised very well as to the rewards for the players and all. I honestly want to talk to the players more just to be like, how was the actual overall experience? I mean, I'm sure they're probably like, it was fire. But it was a long tournament. It took a while because when you tack on all these extra production cues, the pre-roll, the ceremonies in between, all this stuff, that tends to add up when you have to do so many, right? Like, that packs a wallop in terms of the players, just their overall stamina to stick around it and play it. Like, it's kind of insane.
Yeah, dare I say it's like an international thing where like they want to put a bigger pomp and circumstance to it. I feel like I don't force myself to watch, but my family watches like a lot of like Telemundo stuff, and they like to milk every single minute of like an hour. I don't know if you ever noticed that, where like a program ends and another program starts from like 11:59 to 12 noon. It's like instant. There's no commercial in between. Like, they don't like filler.
We don't like to play around.
They'll fill it in, but like if the players hit rematch immediately, they were like, oh my god, no, go back, and you could tell that they were like trying to go back to it. And anytime there was a little bit of filler, they like focused in on a trophy here. Did you
like the players zooming in and outs between like each round? Was that like getting tiring to you at all? Because for me, I was like, huh.
I only watched top 3.
Oh, okay. That still happened a whole lot in top 3.
Yes, it did. That's why I noticed. And I didn't like the whole. I mean, sometimes there's better with picture-in-picture stuff. There's less is more when it comes to production. You know about more production than I do.
At times, yeah.
To me, less is more when it comes to fighting games and visual aspects of it. Like, you just want to see. This is fine with the cameras on the screen, like their faces on the screen.
Yeah,
you can see the reaction. But like, if it's like in between a match, sure, give it time. See the clip over there, or see the handshake, or see the no shake. Stuff like that. The drama. We all want to see the Marvel.
Yeah, they had to fix that tearing issue though, man. They kept like. I don't know if you noticed the tearing issue kept happening like in broadcast. I was like, who here missed that in the chain? What's going on here?
Yeah, or even during Ken Super is when I noticed it.
Yeah,
I see it here on Luke's.
No, it still happens, and with projectiles, like it's kind of weird. Small little things, but regardless, the event looked like it turned out very well. It's still hype. The matches were still incredible to watch. So if you haven't,
when your production value is like a 10, but your in-game production is kind of
like a 7. Yeah, I'd say it's a 7, maybe like 6.5. it could have been, you know, a little bit better, but it is what it is. You know, I'm sure this won't be the last one they're doing, because I think it's done very well for them. Like you said, not only just with Tekken, but now with Street Fighter, adding it to the list. Yeah, it's a little funky. It's always the top third of the screen. But Gamers 8 tournaments concluded. You know, won't tell you. You already saw it if you watched us here live on twitch.tv/mash those buttons. But it's still something to watch, because it's something that's going to get studied. It's definitely going to get reviewed, because that grand finals was amazing, considering it was a matchup of, you know, one person beat the other person, you know, sent them to the losers, you know what it is. And they, for them to come back to try to play again, was a masterclass in adapting. So if you haven't already, make sure to go check that out. They have it currently live on their Gamers8 GG on Twitch. And the VODs are, I think they are also available on YouTube. I just went right to the VODs. I also like to see what chat is feeling about it at the time, for those that actually invested their time to watch it. Just like how you guys are investing your time into checking out this ad break that we got real quick. So we'll be right back after this, because we've got some MK to get into. Actually, you know what? Nah, we're gonna do some EVO controllers talk after this. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. Gamers 8's behind us, so we look forward to a couple of things. But one thing we did want to kind of do a little bit of housekeeping on is still you know, some EVO talk. And there was a really cool breakdown on the controllers used over the past EVO for top 6. So over at the R Fight Sticks subreddit, it was a user by Hugs and Giggles posted up, hug_n_giggles, posted up in R Fight Sticks a breakdown of continuous uses of over the years. Actually, this isn't even the first years. They've done EVO 2019, they did EVO 2022 as well. 2020 and 2021 weren't tracked due to COVID and being online only, obviously, so that makes some sense. So yeah, we got a quick breakdown on it as to how many they've had in, I think this is just for the top 6 in general, right? Just overall top 6. Yeah, so all of top 6. This isn't just for one particular game, this is across the board. So the result are as follows: 29 different controllers are used. Some controllers are, as they stated here, TE2, TE2 Plus are similar, but they're counted as different. They are technically skewed differently, so they're going to count them as differently. So in gamepads, ranked number 1 in the most amount of controllers used. 11 PS4 pads were used, 7 not included MK11. PS5 controllers was 3, 2 not included MK11. Xbox One controllers 3, and 0 not including Killer Instinct. So that means there would have been 0. Killer Instinct, the only reason there's an Xbox controller anywhere in the wing right now. PlayStation DualSense Edge and Ashrah C40 TR, that's 1. HoriPad FPS Plus, and the Victrix Pro PFG controller, which I believe that's the one that you can, that's like modular, right? That you can actually change the controls on it, I believe.
Not too sure. I think so. That was a newer controller that was just released.
I believe. Yeah. It's the one that you can definitely change, you know, the orientation and the pieces, all mappable back buttons, all that good stuff. So someone actually came out there with it. So good luck on them. Arcade sticks. We've got 5 Victrix Pro FSs. Quamba Obsidians are about 3. Obsidian 2s, there are 2 of them. That's like the latest one, right? The Obsidian 2?
Obsidian, yeah.
I believe it's the second one's the latest one.
I have the drone.
Because you have the drone. That's like the version. That's like the in the newer patch of like ones that came out. I'm pretty sure Obsidian 2 is the second one. It's the newest one from there. Quamba Dragon, Hori Rappin. Wow, 2 of those. Hori Fighting Alpha 2s, Mad Catz TEs, TE2s Pluses are 2, Mad Catz TES 2s. Man, some throwbacks. Razor Pantheras 2, Quamba Obsidian Pearls 1, All Fight Stick, 16-inch custom layout. All Fight Sticks is the maker of the actual chassis. My custom stick actually is an All Fight Stick. It's an all steel frame. That shit is just like hella weighty, super durable. You can if you throw that controller like you know, some players have at certain tournaments, it actually is just a hazard. Like you could kill somebody with that thing. Vedash Model V. I don't even know what stick is that. Veda Model V.
How did he find out this information? What was the
putting it together, I'm going to assume.
But like, did he go, hey, what stick did you use?
Oh, interesting. It's one of these. Wait, he was gonna go what?
Did he go, hey, what stick did you use?
Maybe. Or you could have found it out because, you know, you see players roll up.
Did he get this from top 16 or top 8?
Top 6. Top 6. Top 6.
Okay.
Remember, I said controllers used for top 6. Did you not listen to me, boy? All right. So, yes. Yeah, and then when it comes to stickless, this is the big one that I was really curious about. It's like how many stickless controllers we have out there, right? 'Cause there's always been this debate back and forth. Hitboxes 3, junk food snack box, micros, you know, clear, non-clear. It's 2 of them. The Victrix Pro FS, their stickless 1. Punk Workshop Mini Box 1. Makeshift Pro keyboard layout, which is 1. All fight stick 14-inch 1. So the most winning controller of all was the Quamba Obsidian 2 / Victrix Pro FS was tied at 2. The most popular gamepad was the PS4 pad. Most popular arcade stick was the Victrix Pro FS, and the most popular stickless controller being Hitbox 3. So, some couple fun facts here. Like last year, King of Fighters 15 was the only top 6 in the main lineup that only used arcade sticks. So nobody's using hitboxes for KOF. That's interesting. Last year,
D-pad.
No D-pad, yeah. Mortal Kombat 11 was the only top 6 that only used gamepads. So nobody is using sticks or hitboxes in MK. Wonder if that's going to change in the upcoming MK1. There are more different controllers used here than last year and 2019. Stickless is the only controller type to not win an EVO this year.
Kawano did win.
Last year, with Kawano, he won it last year, yeah. 28 arcade sticks used, 21 pads, and 9 stickless used.
However, in Marvel, Evasion was using a hitbox.
In Marvel? Let's see. Yes, he was the one with the all fight stick 14-inch custom layout stickless. He actually does have a breakdown of every game and every player with every controller here. If there is a slight change, I'm sure this has been updated since, but it's still a pretty cool breakdown. So the reason we bring it up is that, like, I'm like, did you realize, like, no one really, like, talks about all this hitbox shit as much no more, or controller drama, how, like, that shit just died out so fast?
Well, yeah, because they fixed the drive rush thing, especially in Street Fighter 6, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's specifically in Street Fighter 6, yeah. But I'm wondering if that's also has caused effects where that, as you know, SOCD cleaner mode has become the norm in other games, or is that getting pushed in other games? Because really, right now, it's like you can just swap them out. Like, it's especially if you're in the world of the what is it, GP? Oh my God, what is that chip called? I literally have one here. My little, it looks like a drug bag. It's not a drug bag, I swear. I have, my drug bag is red.
Your Monday? Is that your
red
your
and
Sunday
pink,
to Sunday?
and pink. Yeah. The Pico board, and it's like, what is it running again? It's like the Pico CE, but it's like, I'm trying to remember what it runs. It's like a GP 2040 CE or something. It's like the firmware. And that one, you know, it's a really awesome community. There's a lot of people that, like, are behind it, that run, like, a big majority of, especially the super low latency stuff that's out there for sticks, very optimized. But they also, like, you know, they made a patch for that SOCD cleaner very early on, but you can always pick, like, you don't have to get stuck on just like the Capcom Pro legal version of SOCD cleaner. And you can, you know, kind of load up for a multitude of ones. But, you know, I was curious as to, like, what controllers, you know, literally the top 6 of each of your games that you might be into, like, what did they play, and, like, how different was the field?
I think the conversation sort of went away when that kid threw his after Dragon Ball. Oh God, he went in for a drink. Sorry. Damn it! Why did he wear a 76ers jersey or shirt?
Oh my God! Yeah, that sucked. Of course, he had to be from our neck of the woods.
I regretted saying the joke as soon as he took the sip. I'm like, oh, it's over. His whole keyboard is just flashed right now. It's gone.
But yeah, so kind of a big difference though in looking at it, because if you look at last year, hitbox was at, like, I think 8 overall hitboxes were used last year. But then again, the landscape as to who's like providing stickless controllers, like it's everywhere. Like everyone makes them, right? Victrix jumped on board. You got Junk Food doing more. There are more little custom ones. Like even the one that I have is just another custom one. Like the controller feel. I don't know about you, but I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of controllers. Like I love the design, the art, a look of arcade sticks and different controllers. So I can appreciate it. But wondering like how that's like changed the landscape over time now, where it's like it's just pad or stick. Now we've got a couple of we got more hitboxes kind of showing up. We've got some some keyboard layout cats sneaking in here right into top 6, right? There's no joke, it's top 6. That's why this data is really cool to look at, because these are like the creme de la creme out here. Shout outs to Valentine in our chat saying steering wheel. Oh, we'll never forget initial. What's my man's name? It wasn't initial D. It was initial. I think it's like initial G or something. But it was like the guy that plays Guilty Gear with a steering wheel. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't. But
initial T. Thank you. Initial T is his name. Yeah, that shit is fire. We'll love to see him come back and see if he's playing. I don't know if he's even playing Strive, but if he does play, I would hope he plays Johnny with the steering wheel. That'd be kind of dope.
Hey, coming back. I remember the Guitar Hero controller.
The Guitar Hero controller is another one. But yo, could you imagine getting on stage, right? You make top 6. Or fuck it, just main stage or whatever in EVO, real high up there. And you go to sit down and your opponent sits down and he's like, yeah, hold on, let me get my controller ready. And he yanks out like a steering wheel.
And you know what's great? He's on modern control.
You're like, oh no.
Hold up. He's on modern control and he macros the pedal to the super button.
Yeah, bro, like, oh my, but they hit gear 4 and just hits the clutch and it's like, oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Like one of those, yeah, like it's not doing, I don't know if you've ever seen the videos where it's like they're not doing anything when they're shifting gears and just hitting the gas.
Yeah, just hitting the gas. There's nothing. It's just
His execution is good.
I'd already be mixed up. I'd be like, I'd be like, cone. I would try to do whatever I can to kind of distract them at that point. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm not gonna get distracted if imagine you're getting hit and he's just like,
yeah,
and the steering wheel, and that's his version of mashing, and you're like, bro, like that's not.
It's him holding block. I can't hold it. I have to keep turning it.
Bro, at that point, someone has to be blasting some Euro beat shit in the background as he's playing. Like, there's just no way. There's just no way. But enough talk. I just want to see that. I want to go down next year and just see this list again, from Hugs and Giggles, and just be like, steering wheel. And be like, yep, one steering wheel. But yeah, overall though, it was really cool to see this data get put together. I just wanted to give a shout out to Hug and Giggles for continuing to do this. I'm sure if they're looking to do it, they'll probably do it again next year. But it's really cool to look at the landscape to see, like, we still got some OG, triple OG Mad Catz controllers out there in the wild, to the newest of the new, right? And really the lesson to take out of this, for those that may be watching or listening, is really, it's, the controller argument has always been just that. It's just like, it's just an argument. There is no right and wrong. There's multiple sides to it. It's all preference. The only way you can get into an argument where there is something to support it would be, when you're talking in the realm of optimal, right? Like there could always be an optimal route where you're hitbox, but with these particular switches in it, because there's only so much travel time and actuation, you can look at the data to get that, right? But half the time it's like so minuscule. It's like, is it enough consistent data out there that you can look into, quantify, analyze, and come up with a result that will show a consistent difference across the board, right? Like, it's not, I don't want to say it's a rhetorical question, because it's like, good luck. That's an endeavor in itself, but there's just so many variables. So controls at the end of the day don't matter. What matter are the skills. You should be able to just get handed whatever, and you should be able to body people, no matter what you have in your hands. So regardless though, top 6, pretty much a big variety. But I'm waiting to see if there's going to be a big shift in the future when it comes to these top competitors though. All right, so top 6 EVO controllers are behind us. What are we getting into right now? We're just talking about EVO. Might as well talk a little bit of the things that went down before EVO. actually. Speaking of the landscape. So we had quite a few of yeah, those are my dogs. Quite a few. It's raining outside right now, so they're super hyped. They got a little bit of cabin fever. Unfortunately, you can't go running around in the yard. They're gonna get all muddy. But yeah, so pre-Evo, you know, those announcements being made, and we're not talking about just, you know, we're not talking game announcements. We're talking roster announcements. Like teams were coming out and then talking, you know, who's gonna be representing them at Evo or moving forward in this new FGC renaissance that we're getting, right? Because it is really a new renaissance for it, because we're getting all new, you know, main title games that are coming out. Tekken, Street Fighter just dropped, MK, you know, Project L is now playable, or was playable, and it's, you know, coming out the field a little bit more, on top of other, you know, awesome indie games that are still in development or are coming out or they're getting worked on. And you know, some new teams have shown out, and now there's, you know, new sponsored teams that are looking to support players, right? FlyQuest being one of them. FlyQuest known for, you know, having teams and everywhere from, you know, Call of Duty. No, actually, excuse me. Let me revert that. I don't know if they have a Call of Duty team. I know they have a League team that is currently in the NALCS. Actually, you're okay, what's going on here? Their site sucks. I can't even tell if they have who's on their team. It's just like merch and partners. I'm like, bro, who's on your squad though? Like,
so, yeah, no, I don't know, because I'd never heard of them until Evo. I mean, we did talk about them before because they were like, oh, a lot of players got picked up. Yeah. But I was so confused because I saw people were wearing like jerseys, and then I saw KBR was wearing one, and I'm like, KBR with them too?
Yeah, so they were not only, you know, announcing players like Punk, right, being part of the roster. I think Ray was another Marvel player they picked up. There's the Dragon Ball player. They had a whole slew of announcements on Twitter right before Evo about that. But they also had like a prevalent like booth at Evo, and they were doing all kinds of meet and greets with the Fly Fighters and such, is what they were saying. But on top of that, they were like, you know, if you make top 24 any title, you come by the booth to get a badge. Make top 16, you earn $200. And probably like, and I think it was like their support as well in some way. So I think that's why you saw like KBR like wearing their shirt and all that.
Okay, look. So KBR said, I want to give it on this is on August 8th. I want to give a shout out to the FlyQuest crew who graciously rewarded players that got top 16 in main games at Evo with $200.
Yep, there we go. That's probably what it was then. Yeah, they had a total of like 15K or something like that up for grabs, if I recall correctly.
That's a lot of people and players and money.
Yeah, man. This is like FlyQuest is a legitimate esports team. I mean, whether or not they're profitable and such, that's a whole other argument.
But I don't think people knew about it.
Because it came out of left field, to be honest. Like I said, a lot of these announcements happen. Like who does Knuckledoo play for now? All right, because he also got picked up.
I don't know what it do. Sorry, Knuckledoo.
Wait, do I not have him on Twitter? Excuse me?
Oh, he's blocked you already.
I must be blocked. It is what it is. But yeah, like Nitro, you know, and Y is part of FlyQuest, and Ray was another. Yeah, that got picked up. Punk. They just had a slew of the new roster, and they weren't the only one. There were several other ones that were getting picked up. Like I said, I wish I could remember who does Knuckledoo actually play for, off the top of my head.
I'm on his page now. Is it Shopify? No, that's his that's his merch, I guess.
No, Shopify. No, it's actually, no, you're right. Shopify Rebellion. Shopify Rebellion, yeah. So they have competitive teams in StarCraft 2. Wow, really OG. Shout out to all my StarCraft 2 heads. Rocket League, Valorant, Halo, Dota, and now Street Fighter. So yeah, at least they actually have. Oh, but they didn't add him on here? Come on, dog. Don't tell me you put him under creators. No, they didn't put him under creators. Gotta update your site. Come on. Gotta show us some respect here. You put the man on. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I find it so interesting, you know, that that like some high profile teams are coming out, or some teams are throwing their hat in the rings, because none of these teams that I've talked about before have really had a representative in fighting games yet, like to my knowledge. So with EVO marking, I guess, the start, right, because it was the first Street Fighter 6 event, it was record breaking in attendees, and I'm sure in viewership and such too, that if you were going to make a move anywhere, it would be there, and it makes sense. But I just honestly did not expect it to happen like that. So it was really cool to see them come out and just show the support, and then this is really, like I said, this is really the flag, kind of signaling that we're in for a hell of at least one season. I don't know how these contracts are going to end up working, but at least one season in the fighting game scene that you're going to be seeing these players get supported and making their way around the world and nationally and internationally, of course. And it's like, if these teams are coming out, I'm wondering like who else is going to want to come out when other profile games like your Tekken, your MK, and like your Project Dells and such are gonna come out and swing, right? I'm wondering, like, but it's like other teams, like, let me think, like the Pittsburgh Knights, they have a player in Too Easy, I believe is his name. He was like initially an MK player. I think he's still MK now, but I think he might be playing like other games as well. But that haven't really that have broken in, like they played at the remember that Russian event. That went down for MK. Oh man, I'm trying to remember. They had like really dope AR, augmented reality, like production. It was like so over the top. It was really cool.
Oh, was that the one with the stairs in the background? It was a Red Bull event, wasn't it?
No.
Was it Tekken?
No, that was MK. It was MK, and I just can't. It was like a MK. Yeah, it was MK. It was like a Russian production group. It's like what I remember. But I remember they got into a lot of shit afterwards. I don't know if they paid people, but I just remember, like I said, players like Too Easy were there and all. So, there's all these like really interesting events that are kind of popping up, and then these teams that are popping up. I'm like, we're in for some fun. We're in for some fun for sure this year.
I get a little skeptical, a little sus with that, just because when they're promised so much and they come out of nowhere into FGC, I'm sort of like, the hairs on my back sort of curl up, and I've talked about this before, and just like, I don't know, but I believe you for now, but don't take my trust lightly, like.
Well, with events or teams?
Just with teams.
Oh yeah, we've said it so many times before, like esports teams are in itself a gamble, especially as they grow in some degree. Because you could have a really sick esports team and not like be huge, regardless, right? And they're when we're talking on the business side of things, it's like they're not profitable. There's like rarely any that are, and there's like the top 1% that are the ones that have been here for so long, like your TSMs, your Liquids, and such, right? Even others that have a strong grip on things, like CLG. Right, CLG had a whole team for a good while, right? That's no longer a thing. They don't have a CLG FGC. That hasn't been a thing in a while. You can give credit to that, to bad business practices or the current economy climate, whatever it may be, right? But historically, even when things were good, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough to make it to make money on it. So it's always, fighting games are always like, I always felt like fighting games they're always like bottom of the barrel when it comes to that hierarchy in esports, because it's always like, it's just a single player, and we don't have crazy expenses when it comes to that, right? Like it's not like a whole team, right? When it's like a team, it's like 5-6 people, a coach, all the additions to that. When it's like fighting game players, is like, oh yeah, here's a console, here's the controller, off you go, you are now sponsored. But to see like these bigger ones, like I said, these really big experienced ones to come out and pull like some really well-known players, especially in a time like this, recognizing a time like this where fighting games are kind of coming into a second round of like really amazing releases and competition at all-time high, and kind of much more into the masses. They're recognizing it, which means there's a storm coming, which hopefully that means you guys have recognized it. That's the first thing I thought of when I was seeing all these signings. I'm like, what? in the hell is causing this. But when you look at the landscape as how it is and what's coming up, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I had something else just in mind, and it escaped me. I was just on it, like, oh god, I was just there. It was literally the tongue.
It made sense. That's what I said, and you were like, yes, and then you lost your thought because it made sense.
No, it was an exact yes.
But
Daniel Bryan, yes.
There you go. Yes, you say yes to this ad break coming up right now, because we're coming back. We're gonna be talking some MK1. There was a new Kombat Kast that dropped. We got some characters to talk about, some bullshit to get into, and an awesome fatality that's made a return. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. We got some MK to talk about, man. MK1. There was a Kombat Kast 2, which I kind of like. It slipped through my fingers, man. I didn't realize it was happening until I think it was like recommended to me on my YouTube feed. Like it was just happening to be live, and I was like, what's going on here?
Yep.
I didn't expect them to have one so quickly, but we got to get another one, which is really cool. And this time they broke down 3 characters, as well as a breakdown of like some really cool stuff, like concept art of like the dead woods and such, right? They showed in the Reptile trailer, which is pretty dope, or the Banished trailer. It wasn't just Reptile. But regardless, though, the good stuff that we want to get into is, of course, the characters. And off the rip, we got to look at Big Leffen. Showing up in MK1, good for him.
Yeah.
AKA Smoke. With oh god, they said the name of the weapon. I just can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I'm not about to go listen to it. But anyway, he's got a knife. And yeah, like, off the rip, how are you feeling on this variation of Smoke, man? Okay. Very different.
I'm gonna admit, I was kind of working while I was watching it, so
hopefully Static's employer is not an awesome fan. But if you are, thanks for listening.
Well, I wasn't watching it. It was in the background. Background. So however, I noticed in the last trailer with Geras that he does still have his teleport. That wasn't shown in his own trailer, but damn, that was cool. I have some faith that they'll keep it true to him as well. I never liked the knife, but I feel like as though it's gonna make sense. It's fine. Like, not everybody even has a weapon in Mortal Kombat, so why am I spazzing?
Good point. But he also, historically, to my knowledge, has never had a knife quite like this. Like, there's never been
the spear.
Yes, the spear. But you hear what I say? I say a knife. And my man is not okay. He's kind of pseudo doing it with the little that projectile he does with the knife, where he can like hit you from the air. But I think if because I'm seeing 2 instances where he does decide to pull you, but then there's like when you're on the ground, then he doesn't pull you.
Did you just have an Yuri kick? Like a jump back kick?
I don't know.
If you rewind it just a little bit for 2 seconds. He had he has a Yuri back heel kick.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter. It's a block button.
Yeah, exactly. It's a block button. Who cares? But yeah, if you notice that anti-air projectile he has when he EX it or enhances it and pulls you in, because he's a mix-up. He's a mix-up character. He does have a high-low mix-up starter on both ends, so he is going to be a very oppressive character and a blender character, which is fine. That's actually what Smoke kind of has been the past couple iterations. At least in MK11, and nothing in MKX, obviously, but MK9. What? I
teleport?
I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Like, if it's not a high, like, it's kind of like Decepting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he always gets to teleport behind. Yeah, I think they said it was a high, actually. So the character's gonna be dangerous all over. But yeah, Smoke's back. He's got some new tricks, and I haven't said it enough, I don't think. But shout outs to whoever designed his mask, because it looks more like a respirator filtered mask, like an actual gas mask to help protect you. Did you not know he can? Did you not know he can go? He can go invisible in this game. So
I'm sorry, I didn't do enough of my homework on the MK. However, I did see the visuals. It still looks stunning. But for him to get it, is that meter burn teleport?
Yeah, it's the meter burn.
That become meter burn teleport becomes invisible.
Yeah,
that's pretty good because then they're still blocking. You can go for it.
And then a mix-up character. What's more dangerous than a teleport? An invisible teleport, and an invisible teleport that makes you invisible, and your character mixes up, and his dash is kind of good.
I found my nephew's character.
Yeah, he looks kind of gross, right?
I noticed, however, that they didn't have the health up there. I mean, you could still see the health damage from the combo counter. But they didn't have the health. Was that because they're not sure of how much damage it'll do yet?
Everything they're showing, I always take it with a grain of salt. But maybe so. Maybe that's the big, weakness is that he has all these tools, but maybe his damage output isn't that crazy. But historically, when something doesn't have a damage output, someone figures out a way to get as much damage as possible. Then the character just ends up being played as optimal as possible, and that's when you're like, oh, is it worth? Right? Bring out the tier list.
Right, but my fear is that when it comes to characters with weapons like that, I don't know exactly, but as soon as I saw that he had a weapon like that, I was like, is he gonna be slow? Like, are his moves and normals and ranges gonna be slow? Like, when you have obviously characters without a weapon, you're like, oh, okay, they'll have their fist to use. And then when you see that they have a weapon, you're like, oh, that means they're a range character.
Like, yeah. But in this case, it's like this weapon doesn't have range at all. But I'm like, the character itself does, so who cares? He can teleport through. You can't zone him because he can teleport through it. And I don't know if you peeped that. He's got the dash smoke, and then if you EX it, it just cancels it outright, while the standard one puts him in an animation. This feels like this is just chip. This is just the chip of the game right now. And I feel like I might be jumping on that train.
I already feel like a little bit better than the MK9 smoke. Now, the MK9 smoke, a lot of people liked. He had like the whole teleports. He had the shenanigans everywhere. But like, this already has more personality than that smoke.
Yeah, and like I said, MKX is just like, excuse me, not MKX. Wow, I said MK. Sorry, I had to kind of let me take it back. I just realized what I said earlier. I know I said MKX was like nothing. It's just because I keep forgetting he was Triborg. And he was nasty in that game. Like he was, especially by end of game, he was, he was like one of, Scar. He was like he was the smoke player.
Really? Drop Sonya?
Yeah, for a little bit before. So, because I think it was post Sonya. Excuse me, it's either Scar or it was, what's my name?
Liu Kang player from 11?
Silverai. I think it might have been Silverai. My apologies if I get that confused. But I think Scar did keep Sonya until the end. I'm not 100% sure because I know she got the demo got nerfed after he showed off what it could do. But yeah, Smoke still definitely had representation in 10, and he was gross there. And I guess there's no, they're not gonna stop here with that.
A lot of MK10 did that. Whenever they showed like Tanya's busted,
and it's gone. Yeah, nerf. Yeah, that was.
And then the other variation, we're gonna nerf that one too.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Come on, dog.
No, I want to see some air combos. Did they show that at all or no?
I don't think I saw a lot of air combos for him. No, that was just the knife. I don't know. That might be a thing. He might not be an air combo type of character from what they showed off. Because after this, they went right into what we're gonna talk about, which is Ashrah. The demon,
she's a demon who turned
the demon who has been letting go of her, or has been absolving herself of evil spirits and energy, and it turns her more human and such. That's why she doesn't look like a demon.
Okay.
But that's also a part of her. I think it's like her sword helps her do that. She is a stance character. There is actually a stance that she does. But talk about weapons. Like, yeah, she's got those buttons, man.
That's what
like,
I'm saying.
That characters with a sword with a weapon. Yeah, you got some range, and she doesn't look slow. She looks like some high lows in there, but she's got some zoning capabilities as well. But a lot of her kit goes into, she seems pretty basic. And for a while, I was like, man, why is she so basic? This is not like anything crazy. She's got some air mobility with teleports and such, which is really dope. Air and on ground.
Faint.
But the biggest thing that she's got going on is that she actually can change her stance and use evil energy as well. And now her kit actually also changes. So think of like your Gens, think of your Narmayas, think of your basically your stance switch characters that will. Yes, that will change things up depending on where they're at, and there's even some synergy between, like, if you stack like 3 stacks of moves or hits on your opponent as her, and then you use the light version of your move set, like, it creates explosions, that's more damage, and potentially I'm going to assume there's going to be some more combo routes that way, but that just makes this character a little bit more technical. So it's not going to be a user like a beginner friendly character, but I think there'll be some pretty good depth in there if there is enough of a reward is really what it is. But like things like those projectiles that she's doing on the ground, that's a low. Oh, so a little bit of
it's no surprise. It's
some
Kombat.
some Tremor-esque type stuff right there. Yeah, and if we can see when you actually do follow through with some of those actions, she with the light sword, when you got those stacks on, she tends to blow you up for it and get some more damage.
See the stacks on their feet.
Yes, they're like up to 3
2 now.
It's actually 3. It's 1 at the bottom, 1 in the middle by the knees, and then like 1 by the waist. But even her teleports also change, where instead of retreating or moving away, they're more aggressive, more about jumping, getting closer to your opponent. So you kind of switch your play styles depending on how you switch her overall stance, which is really cool. So
now I wonder if you can do the stance stuff with an assist, so that you can sort of do that while you're
mid-combo
waiting in the backgrounds. Yeah, just so that you're not, how do I say, you're not sitting there like, oh, I got a knockdown. Now stance change. Or you can do a certain combo assist. Because, we've seen characters step aside, do an assist.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I can't do anything. Now, I didn't get to try it all the way. We only got 2 matches. And literally, I was like, everybody else is sitting here for a while, but you're eyeballing us? Cool. Whatever. I wasn't trying to hog the setup, but let me get a 3 out of 5 at least.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
It's gonna be word's gonna be out on that once we get our chance on playing the beta, because I think actually, you know what, I have, if you haven't pre-ordered already, it is this week. I actually need to double check as to who is in the beta. Actually, I forgot to check that out, as to who's going to actually be available to be playable. I wouldn't know if it'll have some of these latest characters in, but I would hope they have more than what the initial beta had, right? Like that kind of would be the hope there.
At the booth they had most of the same, but it was Li Mei was the other character.
Okay, so it sounds like that's actually I just checked that Liu Kang, Kenshi, Katana, Johnny Cage, Li Mei, and Sub-Zero, alongside cameo fighters Frost, Jax, Kano, and Sonya Blade. Was Frost available?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going with the EVO build. Yeah, so the EVO build is what we're going to end up with. We're not going to end up with Ashrah, unfortunately, this weekend to play, but that's fine. We'll wait to see for her to drop with the actual retail game. And the last character we got to see. All right, Gabe's he's already back on his chair, like, damn it.
No, it's not that. I was watching this, but only because the background was so vibrant.
The background is beautiful. Goro. That background is beautiful. But yes, we got to see Geras with the Goro cameo assist. Got a couple grabs. Geras, primarily a hit and grab character. Like, he does have some command and grab shenanigans, but a lot of his stuff tends to go from hit into, some sort of string into ending into a throw. Matter of fact, he can actually change 3 variations within the air. He can keep you in the front, he can turn you around, or I believe there's one where he can keep you neutral as well. They were breaking that down during the initial starts of the cast. If you can see, depending on the button you press, yep, he can turn you right around.
These devs have always been fans of side switching. Every time during Injustice, Kombat Kast, or MK11s, they're always talking about, side switching, this side switches. They always keep that in mind, just because of how important the corner is in these
games,
and also getting out of the corner.
They understand that the corner can be a dangerous place. Hence why, if you don't have any options to your players, then they just get smothered, right? That's traditional fighting games. They're trying to change things out. This isn't the first time. It won't be the last time, right? Strive being one of also the biggest perpetuators of that, right? There is no corner, really, technically, unless you slump.
Unless you're Eno and
Eno and Happy Chaos and such, and you can slump. You're always going to reset to neutral. MK, it's not the same, where they're going to, it's not always free to get out the corner, but they want to at least give you the options, so that way you can do something, or give yourself the corner too. Give your corner, you know, get your opponent closer to the corner. That's another option, right? They still want to give that capability because that is still a strategy in fighting games. There's nothing wrong about it. It's just you know, we're just evolving the idea. But yeah, so Geras, hit and grab. Lots of really, you know, he's got some of the best animations because he can do these weird, like, you know, clone into sand. Now I'm here, let me clothesline you there. But then the camera has to shift really hard because the position can get changed. But it's no different here. What he has is some other levels of bullshit that we're gonna have to deal with, and that is if you peeped it out in the trailer, peeped out in the trailer, it's the time stop, right? So in this game, he has a mechanic where he needs to add to an hourglass. I believe it's 3 times. He needs to like kind of make it happen. There are some moves that give him this, you know, this count. So once he gets it up to 3, he then can get enabled to do the freeze. So it's like a lot of, you know, 1 2 3 knock, maybe sliding knockdown into hourglass, right, to kind of get your stacks up. Once you have your 3 stacks, now the game shifts where a whiff punish, even from full screen, a projectile from full screen could be punished instantly from Geras. So they showed the example of it where he lets it rock and he will teleport to that spot, and it can be blocked. So I don't want to scare anybody in thinking that's game over and that's a free hit. It's not. It's you just have to block, so you have to be very, very careful of it, because Geras players will be looking for it. It'll just, even if they have no intention of using it, this is how powerful something like this is. It's like, it's knowing it could be there, like that it is there is enough of a threat. Like that's enough of a threat to change the game, you know, the game plan for your opponent. So you don't even have to technically trigger it, but once you do, you know, it's your standard, you know, you get a couple hits, and whatever the last hit is, whatever that your condition, your character, the opponent's character is going to be. If they're supposed to launch, they will launch. If it's supposed to knock down, they will get knocked down. So it'll always go off of that.
Now, granted, in the last game, it wasn't like that. It was just, hey, I have this move, I'm going to do it now.
Freeze you.
Uppercut you 3 times.
Uppercut, punch you in the butt twice, and then you pop up, and then I get the jumps, body splash you into whatever, into corner. Yeah. So they didn't want to make it as free, which is fine, but it's still powerful because it is integrated in his strings. And he could also use it to, this is one thing that he has where he can actually think of it like it's gonna sound weird. It's like it really is a rewind button. He actually can, I believe he uses his stacks to do this, where if he takes damage, right, say he took 15%, he can actually activate this ability where it brings him back to where he was, and he replenishes the health as well. God. Yeah, which makes it which makes matches against Geras a bit longer, but once again, that's if you let them get the stacks, right? So there's already a mini game being played here within this match that's gonna be very interesting. I'm not gonna lie though, all these utilities that he has, like I mean, I already know I said smoke earlier, but damn, I'm like, yo, Geras is looking kind of mean, man.
No, and you know, something I talked about last week, what I liked was that, what I liked when I saw his first trailer was that you can see bits and pieces from his previous iteration. Like, that's something that I love when it comes to games, is when you can use stuff from a previous iteration. I think I said I talked about that with the guy Derek. Was like, what can I take from the previous games that is in this game? Like, I see some things like Liu Kang's moves or Geras's moves, even Sub-Zero. When I played at the demo, I could see Sub-Zero's old stuff in here. To see old stuff from Geras in here and more is a much better plus. I even talked to him about like Guilty Gear. They took stuff away. You know what I'm going to talk about? Chemical Love. You know, just taking it away, taking good stuff away from her. You know, stuff like that is important because it can be detrimental if you don't have it.
Yeah. So, and evolving it is also just as important, I think. Like, because if it's just the same, it's like, okay, there's familiar. Yeah, it's a familiar place. That word. It's familiar to the player, which is good. Yeah, I don't know what it is. That's like one of the words I can't ever say. But it's a great thing to have for players because those that are returning can come back and feel like, oh, okay, I've been here before. Yeah. But when it's evolved and it's changed and it's, you know, a little bit more refined, I like that because it just shows, you know, maybe lessons learned from how that character was played last game.
Sure.
And they're trying to maybe not tone it down or make it better, one or the other, right? It's just like I said, it's an evolution. And Geras only having one game to have been in prior to this, I think they did a really good job in kind of doing that, like in bringing that evolution to a character that's only been in one entry and make it look that good. Yes, I know that grab is disgusting. A grab into pile drive, into clothesline of yourself. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Listen, it makes me want to see Raiden in the game already. Like, yeah, because I think of him. I think of just Raiden. The only time I ever see Mortal Kombat have camera stuff like that is like Cabal or what the hell was that? Yeah. Cabal or just Raiden flying across the screen. Like, yeah,
those moves. Yeah, those moves.
I really need to see what Raiden is up to in this game. Like, the fact that him and Scorpion have been in all the trailers and there's still no showing of like what they can do boggles my mind.
Well, no, couldn't you? Was he not playable in the previous beta?
Correct.
He was not.
Previous beta had Katana, Johnny Cage,
Sub-Zero,
and Liu Kang.
And Liu Kang. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I must be tripping. Yeah, we need to see.
Where's Kung Lao? I need to see more. Come on, man.
Yeah, that is.
I had these characters in there since the start. Even Rain.
They're saving the best. They're saving the best for last. Is what they're doing right now.
This game is already a month away.
I know, that's the crazy part. The game is a month away. This is kind of your PSA once again. If you haven't already pre-ordered, make sure to pre-order. If you want to get into the beta this weekend and try out the EVO build, if you weren't there, if you were there and already did play it, then you're good there. Yeah, go play it again. But you're good other than that. But yeah, so MK1 is looking to shape up pretty well. That Kombat Kast, surely not the last one. Hopefully the next one will get some, maybe it'll just be a hat Kombat Kast. Just characters with hats is what we're going to end up getting. But yeah, I think with that, we're actually going to be wrapping up this episode. We still do have, I know we just say we got some Grand Blue we want to talk about, but we're actually going to talk about that on the next episode. I know I said that last episode. I'm sorry about that, guys. But
never make promises.
I'm not trying to make a promise, but I'm trying to make sure, you know, though it's on our radar. Cause like I said, I've been keeping an eye out on it. And I have not forgotten, but we will be bringing that up. But until then, that is going to be a wrap on this episode, guys. I want to say thank you for hanging out with us. This has been another episode of Double Tap. Appreciate everyone that's been chilling here. Make sure to, of course, follow my awesome host, even though he's not here, Meza FGC. Go check him out on all social media platforms. Meza on kick.com, where he's streaming some DFO, some DNF stuff there, open lobbies. He's doing it every week. Of course, you can catch Static Gorilla at Static Gorilla on all social media platforms as well, including Twitch, where he does his TNS runs and listens to awesome video game lists given to him by awesome people on his show. On his stream, because he's like
music list,
because he's like, I gotta hear more music, and he just doesn't know what to listen to, and I give him really awesome lists, so you can go listen with him and find out if they are good or not.
Yeah, give me the top 100 list, and then they cut off early when there's a really good song. Yeah, awesome.
It's a great list. It was a great list. Yeah. So yeah, and make sure to follow me at CrashTagVS on Twitter, and also Double Tap FGC, of course, on Twitter. Make sure to follow us on YouTube, where we post up the awesome highlights here from this show here, specific things we're talking about. Go check out the visuals there. This episode, of course, is live every Tuesday, usually Tuesday morning, because we record on Monday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time here on Mash Those Buttons on Twitch. You guys can support, of course, on any of your podcast platforms of your choice with some feedback, ratings, comments. All love to everyone's been giving us mad reviews over at Spotify. If you listen to us on Spotify, hit us a review. Let us know what you think. If we're a 1-star, we're a 5-star. Let us know. We always want to hear we always look into the feedback. We always hit the comments. You're not going to hurt our feelings. Maybe mine a little bit, possibly. Who knows? But it all helps, though, in the long run. We appreciate you guys for doing that. But make sure to stay tuned after the show here to hear about the other shows on the Mash Those Buttons Network. We'll be live once again next week on Monday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Got some more fighting game coverage, of course. Until then, be safe, X Factor, we got X Factor. And if you're playing the beta this weekend, play some Johnny Cage. I really want to see more Cage footage out there. I think he's gonna be busted. But until then, we'll see you guys next week. Later.
I'll try to find what I forgot.
There you go. Peace.